Hola Galeras, how are you? Welcome to the Painter's Breakfast. I am your host, Just Blake. As you well know, this is my breakfast. I hope you're all well. I have been up since about 5 in the morning. Um, I took a little nap at a certain point because I was just so beat. But Tom is at the vet getting his teeth cleaned. So that's primarily been what I've been doing all day. I just saw a fun thing. A friend of mine makes tomato squash soup, and they're telling me about it right now. It's very nice. So our meeting today, for those who don't know, are my Platinos y habanero. Sorry, my Platinos, my Huevos, fritos, huevos fritos. It's a fried egg and plantains. For those who don't know what I'm saying, um, I mean, I think he's okay. There was definitely levels when we first started, like a couple weeks ago when they brought it up to us, or a week ago when they brought it up to us, that they made us very nervous because they said, you know, like, oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. Very little animals pass away from this. And you're like, I don't like that you even brought that up. That makes me uncomfortable. They signed a bunch of things, and I give it to cover their butts, but it's not a good feeling to have someone tell you that. So around 4 or so, we're gonna go pick him up. But yeah, just nervous. I might get to do something really cool with a what's the word I'm looking for? With a dispensary, actually. They or head shop or so. They've got they're working on their advertisement, and they thought maybe I would be a good fit to make them some stuff today. Not today, but as time goes by, to help them advertise and make things and do stuff like that. I'm always happy to like work with local businesses. Still got the cornflakes on your lip. Nice. Thanks, mom. Thanks, Doctor Mommy. Hi, gaming. How's it going? That's but yeah. So I'm working on that. That's gonna be really cool. I'm super excited about what they might want me to do. As just that's why I left. It's funny. Let's see. Dr. Mummy says, just messing around. Have a good day. No, I know. Are you enjoying lunch? Well, this is technically my breakfast, so it's still Painter's breakfast, technically. Um, it's okay. Um, one of the one of the producers of the show, one of my kids, one of my cats, is getting his teeth cleaned right now. So we're kind of waiting. So that is the thing that's going on right now. I think for the most part, most of my day has kind of paused right now as far as what I'm gonna do. Your food looks good. Thank you, Eternity. Yeah, I got those platanos and those huevos fritos. I grew up eating a lot of this. My my abuela, my dad's mom, would make me this. Hello, hello, SideQuest Sam. You guys have great names, by the way. Just want to say that they're picked out with a professionalism that is uncanny. But let me see. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, so that's gonna be really cool. Actually, I'm excited to do some work with them. I'm excited to do some work with them. I'm excited to design some stuff to help them with their business. We'll help each other out. I like that idea. I think for a lot of like artists who are trying to get started, like these are great jobs to pick up. I would suggest to get started, make a business card. It doesn't have to be complicated. And then to the places you frequently go and hang out and stuff, talk to the owner or a manager and ask them, if you can do something, you know? It's 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 kind of simple. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple actually. And the worst that happens is they say no. And I know like we're brought up to think like that is the worst possible scenario, but in actuality, like no is typically not a no forever. No is a no for right now, as far as being able to pick up art gigs and do stuff like that. Like a lot of that stuff is it's not gonna stay with you forever. And so I always felt let's see Sam says I always felt fridge magnets are underrated. People use them for bills, etc. Look at a fridge magnet every day. I have actually made quite a few fridge magnets throughout the years. And yeah, no, those are huge. Like you can always give people magnets, you can sell them, you can do them at shows. We just went to the Renaissance Festival in Maryland yesterday, and there was a friend of a friend who was performing there, the death defying Mariska. And she, at the end of her show, had a little case that she opened up, and she sold fake mustaches, these magic pickle magnets, she called them. And it was just nice, you know? She was like a one woman stunt show, is what she referred to herself as. And she did all types of crazy stuff. Like, she like let a mouse trap on her tongue, she put her hand in a fox trap, she swallowed a sword, she did all types of stuff. It was pretty cool, actually. It was pretty cool. But yeah, the little merch is kind of, a lot of times, some of the best stuff you can do. Like, I think people always think, I gotta go huge, I gotta go big. And if you don't have a lot of money, you can't do that. Also, if you don't have a giant clientele, I don't recommend doing that. But if you're getting started and you have any type of platform, go with stuff like that. I used to paint blank Funkos, like this weird looking guy, and sell them at shows. And he's just a weird little wrestler I came up with forever ago. His name was Starman. And I made like illustrations and I made paintings and I did all types of weird stuff with it. And that was like over a decade ago. And it's like totally normal. And fairly amazing. And people go crazy for stuff like that. They love all your like little character things. Things that make them feel connected to you. I think a lot of times people try and find stuff that's like really universal. And I don't feel like insanely universal things are necessary. I feel like in a lot of ways, things that let people know little bits about your personality are oftentimes like really important qualities to like carry and have with the work that you do. I'm also trying to get better about not calling it work all the time because it's definitely pleasure. I mean, I'm definitely making a living with it, but that whole saying that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, like that's a lie. I'll straight up tell you right now, that's a straight up lie. It's all hard work, but enjoying it as opposed to feeling kind of beaten up by it is what your goal is. And that's kind of the thing. I got this mug from Jordan the Stallion. It says, "I'm the manager." I take this to work sometimes. And then when people ask me if I'm the manager, I tell them no. And I might actually be, so I'm not really sure. Well, it's a nice fall day though. I think. I think it's fall yet. I don't know if it's fall yet. Maybe it's not fall. I don't know. But it's a cool day. Let me see. Psycho Sam says, I was at a flea market. This woman made a sticker of her own characters, and I had to buy it because they were so unique. Exactly. These are those things you have to make the things. I think that's probably the best thing I ever learned about being an artist. Like, look at other people's stuff, and then glean whatever you glean from it, and then go that direction. Like, if there's something that someone else makes and you like it and you're trying to think of merch and stuff like that to make, figure out what drew you to it, and then via your own way, go with that. So unique characters, very important. I think a large amount of art that we make, we overthink, and sometimes like our doodles. Our doodles are partially what attract people to us in the first place. Like I have so much artwork that I've made throughout the years. My wife is over there. Yeah, I have so much artwork that I've made throughout the years, and with that, it changes periodically. My themes change as time goes by because I'm alive, and my interests will change. Sometimes my medias will change. Sometimes my topics will change. Sometimes my whole perception will change. And that's just a normal part of being an artist. You're gonna make things that apply to your life right now. There's nothing wrong with just kind of going out on a limb and trying to go for stuff. You don't have to make large batches of things either. There's so many great ways that if you're making stuff that's getting made outside of you personally making it, that you can do in small batch. And if you're lucky enough to have something like a printer or anything of that nature, or you can make them all by hand if you want. There's so many things that you can do that allow you to kind of express your creativity as it's ongoing. You just go stuff. I used to make cassette tapes. I used to do prints of cassette tapes that I would put out. I've got one real quick. Let me reach over you real quick. Don't mind me. It's okay. Oh no. Oh yes. Did I get ketchup on me? I did not get ketchup on me. I'm good. Let me see. Psycho Sam says there is this old Greek world, Marakita. I think it's Marakiti. I'm not sure how to say that. I assume market is probably what that means. I don't really speak Greek. It basically means leaving. I should have kept reading. It basically means leaving a piece of your soul in something you create. Not just art, but like anything you make. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful saying. It's important. I'm gonna keep that. Let me see. They also say, I think about that word a lot when I make anything. That's cool. That's a good plan. I used to make cassette card prints. So what I would do is, I would. This is a really old one. So what I would do would be, for those who don't know what cassettes are, old people used to use them to listen to music, like myself. Um, and I would do like a side and a B side, and I would pick typically like five to six musics that I was listening to at the time, and then I would make like a top five on both sides. And this was like a fall mix for some time in the world in my life. I'm not really sure when. But it had stuff like "Biking" by Frank Ocean was like one, and then on the other side I got uh, "Grown on the Ground" by Sleigh Bells, and it was like little stuff like this, and I would print them out and I would make them and I would sell them at shows and I would do all types of stuff and I'd ship them out and I'd do etc. And it was just this really personal touch because like I grew up and we used to make mixtapes for each other. That was partially how you knew somebody liked you, how you knew somebody was your friend. It wasn't always romantic, but it was, it was meant to be like a big kind of motion. It was like, I did this. I made you this. I gave you a part of my soul. And, if you were lucky, they gave you the mixtape, they put all the liner notes, and you'd find out all the bands and all the stuff. I remember being kind of lazy at first when I started doing them. I'd just make these mixtapes and I wouldn't label any of them. People would be like, I mean, I want to get into this, but I don't know who these people are. And I tell them, I'm like, well, listen to it with me, and then I can just tell you. It was smarter than I thought it was. It was a good way to just hang out with people and listen to stuff. We just sit around and we, and vibe. And I'm be careful about how I say things. And vibe. And we'd listen to music. We'd eat food. We do all types of like really great, laid back kind of bonding things. And I don't know, you get these connections with the people surrounding you. I think a lot of times people forget like the people who you typically get your first kind of sales, art sales from, are like your friends and your family. Then as time goes by, the reach kind of expands. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with kind of reaching out to the people you know. And I honestly think in some ways they can give you more insight than a stranger will give you. A stranger just doesn't like something, they won't say anything. A friend of yours doesn't get something, they'll ask you like, "What is that about?" You have a chance to kind of open up, and through saying it to them, you get used to explaining things, and then when a stranger asks you, eventually, it just comes out natural. It doesn't have to be super complicated, and I like that. I like that a lot. Psycho Sam says, "You won't believe this. My first mix CD I wrote, Maracay. I'm so sorry, I can't say this word. Meraki. I'm gonna say Meraki. On it, as it was the word I learned that day. It was for a crush, but I didn't want to be obvious, so I used cool songs instead of love songs." That's amazing. Oh, you're smoother than I was. I wasn't that cool. I think I was. I remember being. I got into mixtapes kind of late, so I was probably like 18 or so when I first got my first mixtape. Because we would just burn. We just straight up burn like a CD of whatever and be like, "Oh, you've never heard this album before? Here you go." You just hand it to people. You just do it. Um, and so we would be, we just be like, hey, here you go. We had no game, so we didn't know what to do. But as I got older, people would give me these, like, people would make like these epic year-end tapes that they would just put together all of a sudden, and we would have these interesting musics that no one had ever heard before that like were deeply endearing to us. And I don't know that anyone ever tried to court me with them, but maybe they did, and I was just unawares. Um, but it was cool. It was an interesting situation where like your best friend who felt like a sibling would give you these things, and it would bring you into this whole new mindset of music that you'd never heard before, or these songs that everybody loved that were like the songs of the summer. We put them together, and they were incredible. Like I used to love that so much. It was so much fun to just kind of have music that you could play, and you'd see the list, but you didn't know what the songs really sounded like, and so it was just kind of captivating. It's like watching a movie for the first time. You're like, are they gonna die? Is they gonna fall in love? Are they gonna do these things? And it was pretty great, actually. It was pretty great. I think I never quite mastered how to give out the perfect mixtape. I know the strategy for doing it, but at the time I had never quite mastered it. And then by the time I started doing these, like then I figured it out. But these aren't physical tapes though. I thought about making like a Spotify playlist and giving just putting a link on the back where people could just kind of look it up, and then they could just listen to it and play it or whatever. And I did that for a little while. I didn't keep doing it. Or I'd make them on YouTube, or I'd do whatever. And it was kind of interesting to just see the joy it brought like strangers to feel connected to things. I remember like being 18 and thinking I was going to write a novel because I was big into like Jack Kerouac and stuff like that. And so I wanted to write a novel that more reflected like an Afro Latino West Indian story, as opposed to like white guy in the 60s traveling on a hoboing on a train, basically. It wasn't really relatable. It was a great story. They were great stories, but they weren't relatable for me in my time, let alone my life. So it was just interesting to like do that. And then as I was writing it, I had these songs in my head. So I made like a playlist in the back of the manuscript that I suggested. While you're reading chapter one, listen to this album. While you're reading chapter two, listen to this album, and so on and so forth. I did it with paintings too. Like if you really love this painting, listen to this painting. Listen to this music while looking at this painting, having a cup of coffee. It'll change your life. I think not my last art book, but maybe the book before that, I had instructions for how people should like experience the book via music and stuff and other things. And it was just it was really cool. It was a nice connection. And I remember I didn't think much of it, and then randomly someone brought it to my attention a year or so later. They're like, I just love this. I love that you put this in here. Like, I don't know what bossa music is, but I want to now. I was like, that's really cool. I think a lot of art connects to other art. Like it's kind of a loop in a sort. And however you get there, like a jelly bean almost shape, a kidney. Uh, it's just interesting. It's just interesting and it's fun. It's kind of cool. Let me see. Psycho Sam, you won't believe this. Oh, okay, never mind. I just read that. Sorry. Um, yeah, it's just kind of great, honestly. I feel happy about all this stuff. Let me see. Psycho Sam says, "Dude, that's the greatest. I've seen other writers do that. I think it adds an extra depth, and I really respect that. I think it sticks in your head, Like, I'm not a runner. I'm not really even a jogger, but I have friends who are like really dedicated runners, and they make playlists. and then they put them out every season. I think a lot of us do now that I think about it. We all put out kind of stuff like that. I don't think anymore they do, but they used to. And they do like these 100K runs, which to me sounds miserable, but for them, it's completely normal and natural and etc. for them, and they just love it. Just a little forward. But yeah, they play these things. People are like, "How do you manage to get through that? How don't you get bored? How do you keep your inspiration?" And I'm like, "Track 5." And it's just interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I've been falling back into listening to a lot of Frank Ocean recently, like the old albums, and that has been very inspiring, to be completely honest. I've been drawing, as I do, and this so far is what I've got going on this week as far as patterns and textures go. They are not related to anything. I started to kind of feel like I was forming into, like I was coming together with these like weird designs to end up making something in the long run. And maybe it'll physically become something at some point, but right now it's just kind of concepts. I think a lot of times playing with like design ideas via thumbnails will give you a lot of interesting kind of textures and medias to think about while you're making art. And so it's kind of the zoomed in idea of starts here and then goes this way. So I did kind of like an extra close up view of something. I didn't plan on it being that way. And then I kind of slowly have been withdrawing from the picture to give more perspective on what it is. And I don't even know what it is. That's kind of the funny part. I have no idea what it actually is, but it will expand into something at some point that gives me an idea of what I want to do next. And it doesn't have to be this extremely intricate thing, but sometimes I just like it to be that way. So I make it that way. Some things are more simplistic. I don't need all that. But you figure out what you want to do a lot of times in the midst of doing it. It's not so much complicated that you have to overthink it in the moment. You can kind of piece it out and take it apart like a puzzle in reverse, making things. Uh, so I found 2 things this week that brought me peace. I'll share them with you. One was pistachio milk. It's very light in taste and flavor, but it's actually pretty good. I had to give up oat milk. I keep saying I've said years and years and years that I'm going to give up oat milk because it makes my blood sugar spike. I'm diabetic, for those who don't know. Um, and as an artist, coffee is kind of my drink of choice these days because it doesn't have sugar in it, so it doesn't spike me. So I can't do sodas, I can't do alcohols, I can't do any of that stuff anymore. So I can do fruit in water, like citrus typically, and I can do coffee and teas. So when I can find something that I can add to my coffee that gives it kind of a different taste, I really like that. So pistachio milk, quite good actually, shockingly good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. It's creamy, but it doesn't have like a hard flavor. I've also got almond milk. I don't love almond milk. I never have. It's kind of got a. It's not a gritty taste, but it's not a favorited taste either. So, who's to say? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, keep working on what you're working on. Keep doing what you're doing. I have the deepest and utmost faith in you and all the places you're going to go with your creativity. The journey is kind of yours to go as fast or as slow as you need it to, and that as time goes by, that will change periodically. So don't beat yourself up. I don't think you have to draw every day. I don't think you have to draw every week or every month. I think you need to learn patterns that help you feel connected to your creativity. And if that is to dance naked in your house
or to listen to music all the way turned up, or make artisan coffee, or learn to play the guitar. I don't know. Whatever. Cook food, so on and so forth. Show off your old toys you used to make. Have a little show, etc. You'll figure it out. It all comes together. I did not get where I am as far as being an artist goes overnight, and so if you learn how to do that, by all means, share it with me. I'd love to hear it. If you have any art you want to share with me or anything of that nature, you can always share it at painterfiles podcast at gmail.com. And I'm always looking at it, so I enjoy all the little kind of things people share. Probably next Sunday, we'll do another sketchbook gang, which is where we just fill out a page together. We sit down and we draw, and we just draw, and it's just a little hangout. We have little conversations. I show you as I progress through the page how things are coming along, and it's just really nice. It's chill. I think art a lot of times has too much pressure on it, and so it's all we need. Sometimes all we need is just the ability to share what we work on, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. It's just nice. Sometimes it's just funny. So, I hope you're well. I'll talk to you next week. Let me see. SideQuest Sam, last thanks. Thanks for the great advice. I just subscribed. Thank you so much, Sam. Oh, yeah. Please subscribe, like, and share, by the way. I always forget to say that. Thank you to my patrons. You guys are wonderful. There's links in the description if you feel the urge to check anything out that I do. I have lots of websites and art and prints and all that other stuff. But just, like I said, if you just want to share your art, you're welcome to do so. I love seeing artists be creative. I think it's really soothing. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks for the advice. I just subscribed. I'm new to making music. I suck, but I know I will get better. I bet you're better than you think you are. We have a few musicians who've actually joined up with us as the years go by. I've done a few albums for some people, some album covers for some people. So you never know. Maybe we'll do a collab and we'll work together at some point in time. But until the next time, all the love. Thank you very much. Painter out. The wink. And I will talk to you again next week.